Hey guys, how's it going? We are here in beautiful, sunny Colorado. Yesterday was like gale force winds. Today's nice and peaceful. So I figured it'd be a great day to do the walk around of the Land Cruiser. I'll talk a little bit about Land Cruisers, why I bought it, this specific one, the mods I've done to it. So it'll probably turn into a pretty long video. But this is a 1997 40th anniversary triple locked Land Cruiser. I shopped around for a while. I wanted this one. For those that are kind of shopping for Land Cruisers, people know that the 97 triple locked, if you can get 40th anniversary, that's a bonus. This was already pretty tastefully modified, so it was like near what I wanted as the end goal. So it was a great purchase, price was right, and I picked it up. I have done some stuff to it. I put it on 37s. I gave it a new coat of paint. A lot of people ask, like, what's the paint code? Where'd you get the paint done? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't want to opt for an expensive paint job because I know I'm just going to wreck this thing on the trail, scratched it up, whatever. But the paint on there was horrible. It was very sun faded, very scratched. It had some dents in some places, a little bit of like surface rust I took care of. In any case, I wanted to paint it, and I wanted it to be brown. So this is a Mako paint job. It was around $3,000. They did some prep. I did some prep. Not the highest quality paint job in the world. Not something I'd recommend for a show truck, though this is not a show truck. I think it looks great, and yeah, not really much else to talk about there. So the Land Cruisers, the 80 series Land Cruisers are what some people will refer to as kind of the last like true off-road Land Cruisers because they're the last Land Cruiser with a solid or straight front axle. Then in '98, they went to independent front suspension, in the US anyway. I'm in the US, I'm in Colorado. This is all gonna be about the US version. 4.5 liter, inline six, naturally aspirated for now. Pretty weak, but a pretty bomb-proof vehicle, run forever, overbuilt, very rugged, a tiny little bit of luxury, but not too much. I love the look. I love that it's triple locked from factory. I love how they look with the big beefy ARB bumper. I really wanted to try out a direct mount GFC Tent, and I wanted an SUV. So everything kind of came together for me in this build. So I'm just gonna take you through what's on it, front to back. I added some lights, changed some stuff, changed the wheels and tires, changed some of the winch stuff, added a ham radio, changed this thing, painted it, did some work. I put on Slee front lower control arms or radius arms. People call them different things. I did do the Delta vehicle. I installed that rear panhard bracket so that it tracks down the road nicely now. So the only thing I really need to address at this point is the lack of power, which we'll probably get into in a later video, maybe. All right, so let's start in the front. I did paint all the gold trim black, and it already had a worn 9,000 pound winch in there. I did change the fair lead and the front winch shackle to a Factor 55 Ultra hook. This is my favorite winch shackle out there. It's pretty pricey. What you get is the ability to use their closed system, which is very safe, very easy. I'm actually gonna do a recovery video at some point later, just going over some of the basics. You also have a really heavy duty hook here, and the design of this functionally and aesthetically, I like the orange, you know, gotta tie in the orange. Very pleasing to me, very easy to use. Love this thing. If you're in the market, I'll talk more about that in some future videos. I went for the Baja Designs LP9s. I think these are the pros up front in amber. I love amber in the snow. These have kind of like a very wide pattern. Comes out the sides here. So almost kind of replaces the need for like a ditch light for me, but they also have a crazy good spot. So these are very brights. I think they kind of fit the look that I was going for with kind of vintage with little flares of modern. The front is an ARB bull bar, obviously. And then I mounted my ham antenna to just these factory tabs. I did have to drill the hole out wider to fit this NMO mount. Then in these wheel wells here, I have big old BFG KO2s, still my favorite tire. I have a bounce step back and forth, but just a really good tire that does well on the road, in the snow, and has pretty good off-road performance. Not very loud, wears well, drives nicely. Been a fan of KO2s forever. These are 37 1250s on a 17-inch 1552 Analog wheel. So these are actually aluminum wheels, but they're designed with the old steely aesthetic with kind of a modern take on it. So that's what I got in there. Love that combo. Love the look on it with an old kind of vintage vehicle like this. I love the look of 80 series with fender flares, so I kept them on. I got new trim work here. I got new trim work here. This was all eaten up by the sun. Whew, those pieces are expensive for what they are on older cars. I did add these visors because I have a platform in here that I might sleep in. I'll show you in a second. Atreyu's in here. Don't worry, the window's open. He's fine. Atreyu likes being in there. So I said, if he's gonna sleep in there when I'm in the tent, or if I'm gonna sleep in there or whatever, I want these little guys so I can keep the windows open to vent, help with the condensation. Come on, up. Good boy. Sorry, Trey saw a squirrel over there. He's freaking out for a little bit. Anyway, visors, so that way for rain or snow or condensation or whatever, I could keep that from getting in, but allow a little bit of ventilation. I actually only put these on one side because I'm not sure if I love them or not. So these are only on this side. Then these look like steps, but they're actually sliders. They're boxed, seem like pretty heavy gauge. I don't know who makes them off the top of my head. Land Cruisers are all kind of weird. They're really small shops making kind of boutique-y items here and there. I forget who makes those. But as we get around to the rear, this is a 4x4 Labs, really quite custom rear bumper. The previous owner, the owner before that, got that thing built up, so I did not do it, but it has a ladder with dual. These are really sized for Scepter cans, I found out. Jerry cans are a very, very tight fit in here. Rear ladder, so you can access the GFC with this nice standoff here, so you can still use it. It does have a high lift mount as well. And then the rear full-size spare tire. What's kind of unique about this 4x4 Labs is it has a hitch receiver, but in between this kind of like dual receiver here is a winch. So we have a winch mounted back up in there. I went with the Factor 55 flat link back here. And then what we also have back here is the second battery for the dual battery setup. I put a little cover on here so we can kind of keep down on the snow and road debris that gets up in that winch. But over there, hard to see, but dual battery setup down there. Back here, you can see the Delta rear panhard bracket. I installed that, pretty easy install. A little hard to get the panhard bushing to line up, but not a hard install at all. Very basic install. I also installed the Slee front lower control arms or radius arms, whatever you want to call them. And the reason for that is once you lift these things, the caster becomes bad. They don't track down the road very well. So you want to correct the caster. When I was driving this on the freeway, basically it's one of those things where you're always having to do this to keep it going straight. No good. That fixed it. Panhard bracket helped with some stuff as well. Then up top, we have a GFC tent. And this is direct mounted to the rain gutter with these very beefy mounts. So there are only 2 mounts in this rain channel, but they're wide and they're beefy. So my suspicion is we'll be fine up here. I'll open the GFC and give you a look here in a second. Up top, I did mount a single 100-watt panel for now, and we'll go around to the other side here. Well, I also mounted 2 Baja Designs Sports S2s, and those I can kind of twist them around there. I can kind of use them as chase lights if I need to, but right now they're kind of set up in just general camp light mode. And then I have I have to do some wire cleanup for my solar, but I got my wires actually really nice for my S2s. I used this Raceway, and that kind of took care of a lot of that wiring mess. So mounting my MaxTrax to the GFC, actually I'm using these Front Runner recovery board mounts. They fit up there nicely, and it's just enough clearance to open the door here. The rubber strip, you can kind of hear it, does just rub a little bit, but this isn't a door I'm opening and closing a whole lot. If these get muddy, I'll just have to kind of clean that lower edge off. Also mounted the DeMoss shovel, which is another nice thing about having these channels on the side. You can mount accessories like this, like the MaxTrax, and like these lights right up in that channel. So it's a big reason the GFC was really appealing to me. One was I can park this very tall Land Cruiser. So I'm 5'10", maybe 5'11", maybe 6 feet, I don't really know. So you can see it's about that high. So adding the tent on top of it, I wouldn't really be able to do any other rooftop tent and still fit inside of my 8-foot garage. With this, I can fit, so that's nice. It kind of replaces a rack and a tent all in one. The tent itself is the lowest profile tent on the market at only 6 inches. Obviously, with the mounting, it's a little higher than that off the roof, but really not much. Okay, I'll open that up in a second and show you around. So here is where we get really nice, right? This is character, they tell me. So I had some pretty serious rips, so I just got some patches to kind of keep things together for now. Not sure if I want to redo the seats or anything like that, but this driver's seat, I've seen worse. Passenger seat's actually in okay condition. I haven't done a ton on the interior. I have a little headlamp in here. I have this tool I'm gonna play around with. Pair of mechanics gloves, couple little knickknacks in there. I did get a Wits End fire extinguisher bracket, seat bracket mount, and this is an H3R Performance fire extinguisher with a quick release mount that mounts up perfectly under there. It's mostly out of my way when I'm driving. I gotta be a little bit cognizant. I put this end here because I do sometimes catch my heel on that. The kind of sensitive end is over there. That never gets touched, so that's good to go. I did put in WeatherTech mats. I have little broken pieces all over the place. The steering wheel was worn to crap. Maybe I'll fix that eventually, but for now I put a little cover on there because it was kind of gummy and sticky. This is the Baja Designs switch. This is an auxiliary fan for those of you that know about Land Cruisers and being notorious for getting a little hot. So there's an auxiliary fan mounted up in there. Maybe I'll show you what's going on under the hood in a second. And this controls the rear S2s. Then we have the lockers there. And we have the all-important scan gauge, so I can monitor everything in here. Pretty Spartan. I mounted one of these tracks up here, but it's not super stable. It's all right for a cell phone, and that's about it. Has a little thing in there with 1/4-20 threads, so you can mount RAM mounts or little tripod mounts or little arms. This is for Ashley's cell phone mount over here. Has an old Pioneer head unit, kind of crappy. I added some cup holders that I found on Etsy. The Olight fits in there nicely. And for anyone that owns a Land Cruiser, you know that cup holders are missing. So I added some here. There's like a little pen holder, cell phone holder, and it's kind of, it is what it is. It's 3D printed, not great quality, but I just wanted to add something. Also bought the little insert that goes in here, so it adds another cup holder and, you know, some little holes and doodads. I put my big Nalgene back here in one of these risers in this weird square cup holder. I have a CB radio. I don't really use CB, but that came with it. I mounted a little ham radio back here. That's this. I actually just mounted that. So this has a cigarette lighter power for now, so I'll hardwire that at some point. And this is the little cable because my Pioneer system Bluetooth is broken. So I manually plug in my phone, keeping it classic. That's about it going on inside. Up front here, I have my ever important snow shovel and broom. This is just a towel of a light. Nothing too cool in here. I have some stuff. I have a first aid kit in there and some miscellaneous odds and ends. I actually just got this headrest first aid kit. Well, it's just a first aid pouch. I'll show you. So this is from Blue Ridge Overland Gear. They actually sent me out a handful of things to test out. So I just mounted this right before filming this. So this is actually empty, but I'll put tourniquet and some other stuff in here for trauma. This is just Velcroed on, so you just rip that right off when you need it. Then I built this platform here. I have a bag underneath, but I built this platform just out of some spare plywood I had. I'll kind of show you how it works from the back here in a second. But basically, this is a 30-inch wide pad that I put on top of here that I can sleep on. Or really, I built it mostly for a tray to hang out on. So he has a place, but we also have all this storage underneath. I'll swing around to the other side and show you that seat back panel in a second. So here I have this is a Mystery Ranch duffel. So what I have in here is some spare boots, gaiters, socks, all that good stuff. I got a jacket in here, and I have one important item. This is a Noco jump starter. So I opted for the big boy. This is the GB150 Noco Boost Pro. The reason I went big, I've had a lot of these and they've saved my butt a handful of times and saved other people a ton of times. But if you don't know what these are basically portable batteries that function as jump starters. So rather than pulling your car around, trying to get close enough to hook your batteries up and jumping somebody else's car, I use this more often to jump other people's cars. I needed one for a big diesel truck once, and mine didn't work. So I wanted to get one that had enough power for a diesel. I have friends like AJ, Photo Runner, Jason Swell Runner now has a diesel. I'll probably be getting a diesel this year. So I wanted to get the big one that could handle the diesel engines. So this is basically, if you're out solo camping, especially in the cold, batteries sometimes die. So this is gonna be able to jumpstart yourself wherever you are, in a parking lot, in a remote location. And also, if other people break down, you just bring this over to their car, jump it, you're a hero. Very easy, worth its weight in gold, honestly. I've had a few sketch scenarios where I have needed this to start my vehicle and it saved my butt. Not this specific one, this one is new to me, but Noco is kind of like the premier and most well-known brand for these jump starters. So I'm stoked to be working with them on that. In here, just some beanie, gloves, some extra clothes, and I just kind of threw this in a bag. It's not really a get-home bag, though it does have straps you can put on like a backpack, but I've just been really liking these Mystery Ranch bags that they got out. No map pockets or anything on the rear doors, unfortunately, so that's about it back here. Though again, do have quite a bit of good storage space. Here I keep a couple cutoffs of 2x4s that I can use for jacking, for fire starter if I really need to, or to level my vehicle if I need to. I always like to keep little chunks of 2x4s or 2x6s in my off-road rigs. Then around on this side, again, I just got this gear, so I'm just kind of putting it on, haven't messed around. This is actually a Velcro pouch, Fieldcraft Velcro pouch. And I have a bunch of pouches from Blue Ridge Overland Gear to put on this seat back panel. It tucks up in here really nicely, very secure, very trim. So I did a 50% seat delete, obviously. That seat is gone, and this seat is still here. These seats are split down the middle, so in a pinch, you could really squeeze two people sitting on here. But I never like to fully seat delete because, you know, it's good to have room for at least one passenger. Down here, I do keep my trusty Fiskars 28-inch chopping. So this seat folds down. Let me do it for you real quick. So this seat folds down almost flat. It folds forward if you need more, but basically you could put a whole mattress back here, and I built this platform to be about this height. You can see this is angled up. So you can put a little spacer down below. You can pop this up and kind of put a little spacer, and that'll about level it out with my platform. But this can do a whole like queen size or full size bed back here if you wanted to, and sleep on top of that. Obviously the full platform on that side. All right, let's open the back up here. So it's kind of an interesting design. It's a single latch here. And these, you gotta be careful because they are forced open by these gas struts here. So there's no locking pins or anything, but you don't wanna fling those open. So you kinda gotta open them nice and slowly and controlled like that. This is my little shorty CB antenna. Again, hitch receiver. Yeah, I'm gonna do some stuff. I think I'm gonna make like a little magnetic table, little shelf that goes there. And this is my water setup. So this is a Scepter 5 gallon. This is a NATO 5 gallon Jerry. This is for water, this is for gas. I tapped this thing. So here's what I love about the Land Cruiser. They put this in the wrong place and this in the wrong place after paint. Oh my goodness, good old Mako. Is, hey bud, did you get a tailgate? Ooh, tailgate's one of my favorite things about camping on a truck. So I didn't lose my tailgate. They have some cool stuff. They have the like the cutting board mountain hatch you can put on here, and they have some like storage you can put on here. I'll probably do something, I don't know what yet. And then up here, I added a little lantern. It's really a headlight that I just put some Velcro on, a headlamp. This is a Claymore headlamp. I like it because there's a more yellow mode for night, but then you can also kind of do a spot and the white mode. Anyway, I really like yellow for the vibes, adjustable brightness. This is a little metal disc, so if I ever want to just stick anything magnetic, I can put that there, I put that there. Minor little conveniences I really like adding. This is a paper towel holder. These are shop towels, and I just screwed that in here. So it's nice, up, out of the way, clears the platform when I close things up. So underneath here, I have the solar controller and an inverter. So like I mentioned earlier, I have a dual battery system underneath here. Over on this panel, I have cigarette lighter and some other stuff. I've been kind of slowly working through the electrical system, rewiring some crap. Electrical stuff done poorly, I don't like, and it wasn't done great in this vehicle. So I'm kind of going through it little by little. One reason that I keep a fire extinguisher so handy, I'll probably add another fire extinguisher back here, but I'm gonna be adding some more stuff with the dual battery because I do love my fridge. This is a Dometic CFX 35. I find that this fridge is a good size for kind of a few days for a few people. I don't need much bigger. This doesn't take up much space, as you can see. Plenty of room to put some more stuff back here. So this thing is, the platform is bolted down. Let's see if I can move this away enough. Sorry, Trey, watch out. So it's bolted down to what used to be the third row jumper seats. So I bolted this whole thing down to that, but those two are the only bolts holding it in. So I cut a hole here so you could get to this factory tie down. So we'll go through here into that. So when I tie the fridge down, it kind of ties the platform down a little bit as well. So kind of, you want to keep this stuff relatively secure because if you roll or whatever, you don't want all this crap flying all around. This, I did a unique thing here where there's a hinge. So I can fold this whole thing. I can remove that front portion with 2 bolts, fold this thing over, and then if I need to put a tall thing back in here without fully removing the platform, I can. Though fully removing the platform is only like 2 bolts. Whew, excuse my heavy breathing. I just ran in to grab a couple cases. So I sized this specifically to fit Front Runner boxes and Pelican cases. So wasting a minimal amount of space while still allowing these boxes to fit under and have maximum room up here. that was the height I went with. You guys know I like cases, I like systems. I can pull a case out, I can put a case in. I don't need to keep this thing loaded out with full drawers and stuff all the time if I don't want to. I can just load as I want. So I really like that. 2 front runner boxes fit about perfectly in this narrower orientation. If you stick them this way, then 3 front runner boxes fit to the back seat, which is just coincidental, but nice. I do up here keep a box all the time. That has my recovery gear, straps, snatch blocks, all that stuff. And it is sized, if you're curious, about 1 2x4 on the 2, really a more 1.5 inch side there above the wheel well. So that is that system. And again, since this is a platform, really I have the whole length here. I put that brace up there as a supporting brace, but I put it on a hinge so I can fold it up flat if this top section doesn't need to support a bunch of weight. If I really need to put some long rifle cases or whatnot back in here. So anyways, that's my system. Who knows how long I'll keep it. You guys know I kind of prototype a lot of stuff. Uh-oh. What do you see, Atreyu? You see another squirrel? So that's that. I'll link to anything that's relevant down below. Watch yourself, Trey. I'm gonna close you on up here. So that is the Land Cruiser. Oh, actually, I forgot. I was gonna show you the GFC. Let me do that. Sorry, this video is getting long, but it is what it is. Actually, I already opened that side up because I was gonna show you. Anyway, these things, they go in and out. You gotta compress this. I don't really feel like doing it. I'll show you on the other side. So this tightens. Okay, so this is the closing mechanism. This thing tightens and loosens. So you tighten it once it's in. Once you wanna pop it out, it loosens. This thing has a full rod that goes through here. So you push that out of the way. Obviously you can pull it with this thing as well. And then this will pop. Let me zoom out to show you. This will pop right on up. This is good, actually. I forgot to dry this thing out. I slept in this in a blizzard a couple nights ago, actually just right here in my front yard, just to test it out. So I was meaning to air this thing out, but I forgot. We have a bungee thing up here that helps suck the sides in when you close it. And like I mentioned earlier, this is the rear access for the GFC. So if you have a rear ladder, like I do, or if you have like a hatch mounted one, you don't even need a separate ladder. You can just get in right in here. But since I don't really do that, even though I could, I like doing this separate ladder. So GFC sells a ladder, has this little part that hooks in. Oops, sorry, I wasn't showing you. Has this little part that hooks in right in there to keep it in place. And then that's how you get up and down. So I have this front corner window on both sides and then this big entry door here. So here's the GFC. We have another front bungee up there to suck those sides in when we're closing it up. Some pockets, some windows. These windows both open up to full mesh. This whole back side opens up as well. And this whole side can open up as well. So even though it's a hard shell on the front up there, obviously, you can still get pretty good ventilation. This is still new to me. I like it so far. It's held up good so far. I like the looks. I like the functionality, but haven't used it enough to really give a full review. But that's the GFC when it's popped up. If you want to be an overachiever, then you can angle your solar towards the sun to get those rays, get that charge in there. But yeah, a pretty cool setup, honestly. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't really mean to make this video a full feature-length, hour-long documentary, but you know I have a hard time skimming over the details. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below. Again, I'm new to the 80 series world, new to the GFC. This is gonna be a fun vehicle for me, just kind of classic. Again, I still have my Tacoma. It's in the garage. I'm still gonna be doing truck stuff. I'm actually gonna be doing a lot of cool, exciting truck stuff come 2020. So stay tuned. This is just kind of a fun vehicle. By the way, if you're wondering, I got it for $11,000. I got a screaming deal on it. Does have a rebuilt engine. It has 208,000 miles on it. It was rebuilt around 195. Runs good. I took it to my guys at Slee to give it a once over. Slee Off-Road in Golden, Colorado. They're local to me, which is awesome. Said this thing's actually in great shape. Could do a few things to make it more better. Probably rebuild the axles at some point, though they were rebuilt relatively recently. The berths, we got a little bit of leaking back there. But overall, I think it's pretty good shape. Again, I didn't want to dump a ton of money into it, even though you see this and you're like, wow, that's an expensive vehicle. I'm a gear reviewer and a gear tester, so I work with a lot of companies to test gear. So this is kind of just another platform for those of you that have SUVs. I can kind of do stuff that appeals to you if you're not a truck person. So now we have an SUV, we have a platform to do some fun stuff on, test some new gear like the GFC that I can't really put on any of my other vehicles right now. So yeah, I hope you like it. It'll be in videos, but trucks will be in videos, so don't worry. We'll get a little bit of both coming up. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you liked it. If you have any questions, again, feel free to comment them down below. I always put links to all the relevant stuff in the video description, but if I missed anything, just comment, ask for a link to such and such, and I'll get it added. Think about subscribing to the channel if you're not already. We do a lot of adventure videos here, but also some product testing, gear reviews, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of cool stuff if you're into kind of overlanding outdoors stuff. Anyway, until next time, guys, take care.